Hi everyone, this is Heather Lautinen from the Flourish.Academy. This is episode 543, and my friend Jamie posted a question inside of our membership group earlier this morning, and I read it and I started to type my response, and sorry, Facebook is distracting me with questions. Like, don't ask me questions when I'm doing a live video. Okay. So I went to type my response and I thought I would like to cover this in video instead because there's so much to talk about, unpack here. Okay, so let me read you the question and then we'll go over it. She said, "Hi Heather, I hope all is well. Everyone is staying healthy. My husband is actually working on a website for me. I've been a hobbyist in photography since 2017 with the goal of I just want to take good pictures of my children. Now in 2021, there's a possibility of this actually turning into a small business, and I'm a little scared, and I'm not sure if I'm scared because the fear of becoming too busy. I'm a full-time working nurse and mom, and I can't keep up, or the fear of failure. I'm sure this is common, but I need to listen to more of your podcast to help me through this." That is true. Definitely listen to the Flourish Academy podcast because I cover this type of thing. But she said, "I guess my question is, when you were starting out, what pushed you through the fear of failure or the fear of not being able to keep up with clientele and editing?" Can you guys relate to this? If you're here with me live, type a comment and let me know, and you can certainly ask questions. But I have a lot to say here, and let me start by saying, let me answer the question. She said, "What pushed you through the fear of failure?" The truth is, when I started my business, it never occurred to me that I would fail. Like, failure wasn't an option, and this was more than 17 years ago, and I have more words to put around that now than I did back then. I didn't quite understand how I approached that, but I really just don't believe in failure. I don't think you're actually failing. It's just that things don't work out as expected. So when things don't work out as expected, you label it as a failure, which then makes you feel bad because failure has a negative connotation. But the truth is, if something didn't work the way I expected, which by the way, happened all the time, so I guess you could say that I had a ton of failures in my business. I just didn't label them that way. Things just didn't work out. So I tried something different, or I pivoted and I just kept moving forward until I developed a business that worked for me based on the season of life that I'm in. So that's the first thing is really to me, the only failure is not doing anything. If you're labeling it as failure, and what if you did fail? Okay, what is failure? Failure is, I would assume, your business doesn't take off, you don't get clients, it doesn't work, you don't make money. Okay, in your case, Jamie, like, so what? You're still a mom, you're still a nurse, like, what does that matter? If you didn't get clients, it's not failure, it's just maybe that wasn't for you. And I don't know that that's what you're trying to avoid. So you use the word fear, and I think people have this fear of failure, not because of failure itself, but you fear feeling embarrassed. Like, what if everybody knows that I launched this business and it doesn't work? I'll be so embarrassed. That's what you're trying to avoid, not failing per se, because again, what does that even mean? It doesn't even matter. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is you said fear of not being able to keep up with clientele and editing. Well, who sets your schedule? Who books the clients? Oh, that would be you. Okay, so you would only book as many clients as you could handle. And if you don't know what that is, because you're learning, and by the way, I didn't know where my limit was until I crossed it. And then I was like, whoa, I've booked too many. I'm having a hard time keeping up. So then I booked fewer. So why would that be a big deal? Just, start out small, especially if you're working a full-time job, and figure out, okay, reasonably, how many clients could I take on per month or per week? And then book that many and don't book any more than that. And if people are asking to book, then you just put them in your schedule when you decide it works best for you in the season of life that you're in. And if you get too many inquiries, congratulations, it's time to raise your prices. And since you're in the membership, I have videos all around when and how to raise your prices. But if you're getting more clients than you want and you can't fit them in, raise your prices. It's pretty black and white, supply, demand. But don't schedule more than you can handle, because no client forces you to let them book you, right? So a lot of photographers say this, I'm worried about not being able to keep up. well, then don't take on so many clients, or figure out how to edit faster, work on your post-processing, take a class, whatever that looks like. But just determine what works for you and your family in this season based on what you can handle, and don't book anymore. And that's pretty straightforward. So I think probably what happens is you guys way overthink this, like, oh, what if? Okay, what if? What if you take on too many clients and okay, let's say it happens. Let's say you don't know where that number is, you take on too many clients and you can't keep up. What does that even mean? So you're behind on what? Editing, I'm assuming? Okay, so you tell your clients, let's say it's a family session, and you say you can expect your photos in 1 to 2 weeks, or 2 to 3 weeks, whatever that looks like for you. Okay, let's say you take on too many and one of your kids gets sick, or something happens at work and you're behind. What would you do? Oh, you would probably reach out to that client and say, please forgive me. I'm about a week or so behind. I'll have your photos to you as soon as possible. Thanks for your understanding. Okay, so what was so bad about that? I think what you need to do is, when you have these fears, you need to play them out to their logical conclusion, and you will see that it's like the monster under the bed. It's like the monster you can't see is so much bigger than the one that's in front of you. My friend Dan said that yesterday. Okay, Jess said, the best thing I did to handle that was only allow a certain number per month. When I'd fill a date, I'd remove another that month. Problem solved. Right, you set your schedule. So the fear of failure is not a thing. It's just things don't work out as expected. You either get the results that you want or the lessons that you need. So if you look at it that way, there's no failure. You just try something else. Oh, I didn't get clients. Okay. Well, maybe you need to try something else in terms of marketing. I don't know, or how you connect with people. But it's not failure. It's just a message that something isn't working and you need to change it. So we've eliminated that. And then the fear of not being able to keep up in editing, you just take on what you can take on. So again, I think you guys overthink these things. You have these fears that are big and ominous. You don't define them. You don't play them out to their logical conclusion. And then you use them as an excuse to not move forward. And I'm going to eliminate all of it. So bring me your fear. Bring me your questions. Bring me your answers. I'd love to talk about why you think something is going to work, and your failure, fear of failure, and fear. She has a fear of failure and a fear of success at the same time, which is actually quite common. I've had that fear in the past. What if I get too big? What? That doesn't even make sense. Then you just don't take on as many clients. So, and I'm a big believer at the Flourish Academy. We talk about this all the time. I believe in creating what I call a lifestyle business, and that's a business that fits your lifestyle based on the season that you're in. Maybe that means that you take on 1 client per month, and some months you don't take on any. Maybe that means you take on 4. Some years I was taking on 30 weddings, which was insane. That was too many for me. And then other years it was 10. Some months I would have 5, 6 weddings in a month because I'd have double headers. And then other months I would have nothing. It depends on, I'm talking about the season, in terms of your life. Or do you have small children at home, etc. But also for wedding photographers, the seasons of the year, because that depends on my area when weddings are booking. So you just figure out what works for you. And you're not going to know initially. But you have to take action, and you have to try so that you can see what works and what doesn't. So I recommend for Jamie or anyone else that you dive right in immediately and stop trying to line everything out and make everything perfect and have all of the puzzle pieces fit together before you start, like your pricing and your processes. You have to start the puzzle to get the rest of the pieces to put it together. You have to take action to figure out what's going to work and what isn't, because when you take action quickly and something doesn't work, then you're able to say, oh, that doesn't work, I'm going to try this. And you will get to the correct answer sooner. And I say correct in air quotes because, again, I don't think there's any right or wrong. There's just different actions that lead to different consequences. So what? Then you work on something else and you figure it out. So, hi, Becky. I would recommend taking a deep breath. If you love photography and you want to make some money on the side as a photographer, then just go for it. Make it happen as quickly as possible, and don't worry about all of the little things you have to figure out, because you'll figure them out as you go. And there are a ton of resources out there. Jess says, just go for it. You don't know until you try. And here's the thing, you also have to be okay with perceived failure. So I don't believe in failure. So I certainly make choices that are less than ideal. That's what I say. This is not optimal. So I'm going to change something. So for sure, you're going to have what you might classify or label as small failures, big failures. Okay, but so what? If you're okay with that, then you will take action because it's not going to matter. You're not going to die. I literally, yesterday on a Lifeline with a photographer, said, do you think, are you going to be homeless without clothes or food? So no shelter, no food, no clothes. Is that what you think is going to happen? And of course she laughed because that's insane. What is the worst that can happen? You don't get some clients? Okay, well, you don't get the clients you want, you figure out how to get them, or maybe you decide having a business isn't for you. Just because you can bake cupcakes doesn't mean you should have a bakery. Maybe it doesn't work out. But guess what? Now, I thought to myself, so I didn't consider failure, wasn't on my radar, just like not an option. I did think to myself, if this doesn't go the way I planned when I left my corporate job, then at the very least, I have a bunch of phenomenal camera equipment that I know how to use and I know how to edit, and I'll be able to take really great pictures of my family, right? If that's the worst case scenario, then what is holding you back? The most successful people I know make decisions and take action very, very quickly. And the people I watch struggle, they just suffer from decision fatigue. They can't make a decision. They're like, well, I don't know if this is going to work or that. I don't care if it's going to work or it's not going to work. I just do it and then I fix it if it doesn't work. And so, okay, maybe you're saying, well, I don't want to disappoint anyone. Okay, you might disappoint someone. Someone might be upset if you take a little longer on their photos. Somebody might not like their photos. Okay, so what? So why would you focus on that? Why not focus on what could happen in your life? What would your life look like if you just went for it? And who knows what could happen? It's going to be amazing. Christina says failure is a part of the process. You have to learn from it and just be okay with it and change your language. Stop using the word. I just don't see the point in it. And the reason I say that is because people have attached a negative meaning to the word failure. So why can't you just say, I'm going to take action and here's what I expect to happen. And if those expectations are not met, then it means I need to try something else. So I don't even have to use the word failure in that sentence at all. Okay, Jess says, I have started keeping a failures list this year. Oh, and it's been fantastic in helping me see what's working, what's a priority, what I learned, what needs to change, etc. Oh, you should share that inside of Elevate, more about that process. That's really interesting. I never thought to do that. So when I do something that you might label as a failure, just didn't work out, my expectations weren't met, I'm just like, oh, okay. So I move on or I change something. Sometimes I get like low level agitated because I think I'm missing something or I need to figure something out in the marketing or the editing or the process or whatever it is. But I was starting to say earlier, there are a ton of resources out there. So it's not like there are a lack of resources, right? If you are resourceful, you will find what you need. And I gotta say, I don't even feel the least bit sorry for any of you guys because I started my business when all of this didn't exist. All of these classes and online tutorials and worksheets and YouTube. Okay, the interwebs existed, all right? I'm not that old. But 17 years ago, the classes were not online. You had to, travel and go to a workshop or buy a book and read about it. It just didn't exist. So it was much harder. It took longer. It is literally so easy right now, instantaneous. In fact, there's a video, I don't remember the episode number, with my friend Amy Wood. You'll have to look it up. She talks about how, I interviewed her because she came to me with her camera. She went to Costco. She bought a Canon Digital Rebel kit and she put it on my desk here. She came for a mentoring session and she said, teach me how to use everything about my camera because I have 4 sessions next week, 3 or 4 sessions. I was like, what? And she said, yeah, I want to get started in photography. And she did it like instantly, like a day, a week. And then the following week, she came back to me after she shot those sessions and she said, teach me everything you know about editing because I have to edit those sessions I shot last week. I mean, we should all have that type of courage, right? I don't think Amy saw a downside to it. She was like, okay, if it doesn't work out, if I screw it up, if I take bad pictures, if I disappoint someone, I'll make it right. I'll do the best I can, and then I'll just move forward. Yeah, I hear you, Christina. Okay, so Jamie, I hope that this helps you. And I hope it inspires you. I'm just looking over your question to make sure I didn't miss anything. Fear of success, fear of failure. And it's not a fear of failure. Really think about it, because what does that mean? You have a fear, or you want to avoid being embarrassed if it doesn't work out. What will people think? What will people say if I went for my dreams and it didn't work out? Well, the thing is that not many people would think, most people would be impressed and inspired by your courage to go for your dreams, whether it works out or not. Okay, A. But B, even if there was someone that was like judging you because you went for your dreams and didn't succeed, I don't value their opinion, nor do I want to hear it, because until you're taking risks and you're in this arena, your opinion doesn't matter to me. So again, even if somebody did think or say that, which by the way, you're not going to hear about, you're making it up in your head. Most people are not going to do that. And if somebody thinks that of you, they're not going to say anything. And so what if they do? Stop trying to avoid all potential worst case scenarios and coming up with these interpretations, these stories of how this might play out or that might play out. I want you to play it out to its logical conclusion. If it doesn't work out, you'll be no worse off than you were before when you weren't doing it. In fact, you'll be better off because you'll have the experience and you'll make a change and you'll figure out what works for you. I encourage you to take action. In the membership group this morning, I posted that old quote that says the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago and the second best time is today. So go make it happen. I'll see you in the next video.